Welcome back. All right, so full board as we get into some more news from the hockey world for your October the 1st, a Tuesday. Starting off with, so if you like to buy CCM products, the ownership of said CCM products appears to be ready to change. Swedish private equity firm, Altor Equity Partners, in negotiations to buy CCM, exclusive negotiations. So Bauer got sold recently, now CCM's being sold. The hockey equipment companies will see what that does to prices and everything. Usually doesn't go down when a new company takes over. But yeah, so CCM being bought. We'll see what happens there. A lot of players on waivers today. Soloviev for Calgary has been placed on waivers. Buffalo, busy putting guys on waivers. Dunn, Sandstrom, Rathbone, Murray, Jobst, and Pullman waived. I did see some people online saying, well, you know, my team should pick up Rathbone. I just don't see an NHL level defenseman with Jack Rathbone. On the Anaheim side, they have waived Carson Meyer. They also released Boris Kachuk from his PTO. A lot of the PTOs ending at this point. Moverar being waived by LA, and I've heard it pronounced Moverar and Moverare, whatever. He has been waived. Probably ends up in the minors, although he's one of the ones I look at and think, well, maybe. Although yesterday, everybody who was on waivers did clear. Edmonton has waived Peterson, Gleason, Kemp, and Delia. So Lane Peterson amongst the cuts for the Edmonton Oilers. We saw a goal from Podkolzin. So Podkolzin's making this team. Again, he's not waiver exempt, so he should be on the Oilers this year. Reese Johnson's been waived by Minnesota. They're down to 30 players now for the Wild, and keep in mind that it is a 23-man roster you start your season with. Boldy skated with the team today. It's his first time on the ice since suffering a lower body injury last week. So Boldy trending towards very likely playing in the season opener. We'll see if he gets into any preseason games between now and then. The Rangers, busy releasing and sending players down. Domingue, Bleed, Scanlon, and Fitzgerald have been waived. I would think they all will clear. Ernie and Bowie released from their PTOs. So, again, players come in, they get these PTOs. There's no guarantee you're going to get a job. More times than not, you won't. VC and Lindgren are both seen as unlikely to play in the season opener. Lindgren, not a surprise. We had heard it was going to be about 3 weeks for his injury. VC added to the list. So the Rangers dealing with some injuries, and the season hasn't officially started yet. Seattle, busy with the waiver wire too. Olofsson, Steska, Myers, McCormick, Biro, and Stevens have all been waived. So again, these teams have gone through their training camp process, some preseason games. You know who's going to make it, you know who isn't. And AHL training camps are getting rolling. The Vancouver Canucks have waived DiGiuseppe, Patera, Smith, and Wolanin. I would not be surprised to see Phil DiGiuseppe get picked up. DiGiuseppe at times last year for Vancouver was in a top 6 role. And while he didn't produce a lot, he didn't look completely out of place there either, and there are teams that could use a guy on a bargain contract who can play a fourth-line role. So we'll see if DiGiuseppe gets through or not. They're hoping he does, but it's a matter of having too many players, and somebody has to get sent down. Lekaramaki is, for instance, being sent to the AHL, and DPD has been sent down to the AHL as well. Lekaramaki's going to be back up with the Canucks. I would think he'll be one of the early call-ups. It's just a matter of, you have certain players that have to go through waivers. Lekaramaki does not need waivers to be sent down. Teddy Bluger, a full participant at practice today, so they're hoping they get him back as soon as possible. And again, Christian Wolanin being on waivers, I am a big Wolanin supporter, but I am excited to see these guys in Abbotsford as soon as the Abbotsford Canucks get their season rolling. And again, I don't know if DiGiuseppe's going to clear or not. Jamie Benn, apparently approached by General Manager Jim Nill and asked about contract extension, and his answer being he doesn't want to talk about an extension until after the season's done, which is his right. He's, I believe, 35 years of age. He has a full no movement clause, so he's not going anywhere as a rental at the deadline unless he wants to. And he also has a $9.5 million cap hit, which is going to scare off a lot of teams. Even if Dallas ate half of that, a lot of teams would be scared off from that. So Ben will play out the season with Dallas. We'll see if he returns for the following season and beyond. And Jim Nill also sees no rush on extending Ottinger. and acknowledges that the situations with Igor Shesterkin as well as Swayman, something Ottinger's going to keep an eye on, because that's going to tell you where market value is, and he doesn't seem to have any concern about being able to bring Ottinger back long term. So yeah, we'll see how things go with Dallas, but Jamie Benn basically saying, he wants to go out, win a Stanley Cup, and then discuss what an extension might look like or something like that. So I admire his desire to win and saying we're going to win first and then I'm going to sign an extension. I like the confidence. The Ottawa Senators released Kuhlman from his PTO. Not really a surprise there. He's 38 years of age. And I'm sure that his experience at camp probably helped some of the other younger players. I'm sure he imparted upon them some of the stuff that he knows about playing in the NHL. So all the best to Kuhlman. Norris and Zub are both expected to play tonight against the Montreal Canadiens for Ottawa. I believe that's one of the games I may be able to watch tonight. I'm debating about whether or not to watch and review one of the games tonight. I didn't do it last night, obviously. I just did the power rankings and went, all right, well, I did a power ranking, so we'll just leave it at that, and I'll leave the comment section alone and just, go do something else. It's generally how it works with the power rankings. I stay out of the comments as much as possible. But yeah, so Norris and Zub being in the lineup for Ottawa, that's good news. Josh Norris's health is a huge variable here, and if he's able to stay healthy and perform the way that we know that he can, that could be huge for Ottawa. And of course, you need Pinto in the lineup too. Just basically, Ottawa needs to keep that full lineup together, get off to a good start. Rough starts, and really, honestly, the month of November has been brutal for the Ottawa Senators, so they need to avoid that this season. Good news for Erik Karlsson and for the Penguins. Karlsson skated today. Coach Mike Sullivan, when asked about whether or not he believed that Karlsson would be ready for the season opener, he sounds very confident that yes, Erik Karlsson will be back for the season opener, so that'd be good news for the Penguins, and so we'll see if that is in fact the case. So the Board of Governors meeting was today. And of course, there was a lot of speculation about whether or not expansion was going to be, coming out of this as the big news headline. Pierre LeBrun reporting that Gary Bettman says expansion didn't come up. Maybe it's all the stuff that was said over the last week where Board of Governors like, I'm not going to mention it. I'm not mentioning it. Look, Gary doesn't look happy. I'm not mentioning it. Nope, nothing. So it was not brought up at the Board of Governors meeting. There won't be an expansion process being opened this year. Usually, if you're going to start something like that, it starts with the October 1st board meeting, and then they go from there. So it seems to be off the table, at least right now. CBA talks, the plan is for them to start after January the 1st. The CBA expires in 2026. I hope the plan involves having a brand new CBA by May at the latest. Let's get this done. I don't want to be waiting till the last minute again. I don't want to be sitting around in June going, so I wonder if they're going to get a contract signed, or if there's going to be a lockout, and maybe I'm going to have to play some video games so that those of us who need a hockey fix can get it that way. I remember 04, 05, and the amount of time I spent playing hockey video games because I didn't have hockey to watch. I would just load up the game and just watch. Be like, all right, I want to watch a hockey game. Let's load up these two teams and watch them play each other. And then I'd be sad. But yeah, so CBA talks are going to start after January the 1st of this coming year. And the cap. So the salary cap, you always get sort of a ballpark. And this is very preliminary. But the preliminary figure that they're looking at, $92.5 million for the salary cap next season. So again, when people talk about how much money hockey players make, it's only going to go up from here. And $92.5 million, that is a healthy increase in the salary cap. The expectation by the end of this decade is about $100 million salary cap, so or higher. And yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how that money's distributed and everything. But if it's $92.5 million next year, that's going to be good news for some teams that are right at the cap and they're having cap troubles. That way they have an extra few $1 million, and then they'll have cap troubles again, because how many teams are up near the cap right now? Almost everybody. So the extra cap space just means a bunch more money for the players, and the players aren't unhappy with that. It doesn't seem like GMs are all that unhappy with the setup either. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. It really does cripple the trade market, though, because everybody's right at the cap, so then that has to be the discussion with every single trade, it seems. And yeah, so let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. And remember, this weekend, hockey gets started with the 2 games in Europe between New Jersey and Buffalo. And then on the 8th, so a week from today, the National Hockey League in North America gets the schedule going. So should be an interesting coming week. And the NHL's rosters for the season are due on the 7th. So that's where we're going to see a lot of players on waivers. While we're seeing some guys on waivers now, and it feels busy, that last day there's a ton. So we'll see. We'll see how it all turns out. There are still some guys on PTOs that are in camp, but a lot of them have been released at this point, and we'll see if any of them turn them into contracts. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, please do. I will talk to you again soon.